UVU by the Soundson reported one individual that was shot, unknown where the shooter went. And let's be advised, UVU in Orem has had an active shooter at the Charlie Kirk event. We're getting several calls. We're trying to get more information.
On September 10th, 2025, Christian, husband, father, friend, Turning Point founder, and so much more, Charlie Kirk was gunned down on the campus of Utah Valley University. Now, we've already been talking about the alleged assassin, but today we're going to be talking all about George Hodgson Zinn. Zinn was at University of Utah that day. He was watching and listening in the crowd filled with mostly students. There were other people that were there that came just to watch, but I would say about 90% were students from the university. Now, Zinn is a 71-year-old man. He stuck out of the crowd like a neon light. And when the noise of the bullet rang out, Zinn immediately jumped up, immediately started to yell that he was the shooter. Now, before we watch the widely seen video of him being taken away by police, we are going to watch another video that has not gotten as much view time. It is narrated by Candace Owens, but I think it's a different perspective that people haven't seen. It is definitely not as watched as the other video, and it allows you to see where Zinn was in the crowd, where he went, and what happened right before the police got to him.
Found footage of George Zinn after the shot rings out, and we're gonna watch this. He's gonna get up, and people are dispersing everywhere, and he kind of calmly gets up and starts making his way down that stadium. You can see that here. We have the light on him, and his pants fall down by themselves. You can see that his pants did not, like, we were kind of working under the assumption that his pants fell down because, I don't know, the police were pulling him, but that's actually incorrect. They just fall down all by themselves, and you can see that a young man comes by to try to assist him.
So Zinn makes it all the way down. And if you were sitting facing the crowd like Charlie was, Zinn comes through to the left side of the tent where he is then grabbed by police and detained and eventually taken to their car.
How dare you! 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 You're such a monster! What a monster! Such a monster! Monster! A monster! How dare you! Back it up! Back it up! How dare you! How dare you! You're a freaking monster! Yeah!
I don't know. He said he shot him, but I don't know, dude. Don't make me walk, please. I can't.
So of course, now the internet is blowing up trying to figure out who George Zinn is. What has he done in his life? What more information can we find about him? And many conspiracy theories out there, but also many seem to kind of fit some of the narrative of what some people are saying. I'm going to go through the facts of what we have about him to show physical proof and infer my own feelings on certain things. So a lot of people think that he was born in Greece and migrated over here. So doing a public search, I was not able to find that he was born in Greece, but our government did it for us. In his newest arrest record from the Charlie Kirk event, they listed that he was born in Greece. This screenshot is important coming up soon. Starting from 1996 all the way to the present, here is 90% of all of his arrests, and there was more, many duplicates in the same areas. So in no particular order, here is a ton of arrest records. Disturbing the peace, theft, harassment, stalking, trespassing, exploiting of a minor, interfering with a public servant, contempt of court, Many of these were multiple times. But to tie it in with why we're talking about him, here is an arrest record from when he was arrested at the Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA event. I was reading over it and everything seemed pretty spot on until I saw the date with the times. So the police keep track of everything that they do, and including the times. It's really important that they are as close as possible to certain events, and that way all the records are kept up to date and everybody knows what's going on that works in that department. So we look at his arrest record and we see that he was arrested at the campus at 10:48 in the morning. At 11:48 and 20 seconds, he was booked, which means that is when he got to the police station and was brought in. Pretty specific, right? With the 20 seconds and everything. Charlie Kirk was not shot until 12:23 that day. Now, accidents and mistakes happen, but with this going on, and there's so many conspiracies and so many weird things just in general with this case and with the people, that is so wrong time-wise that it definitely raises red flags. So it's such a long interview coming up. I decided we're going to turn this into a part 1. I'm going to go ahead and play an interview that George Zinn had about September 11th. Yes, that might spark many of your interest because there's a lot of things that Zinn was at or near in crazy scenarios that it almost seems impossible that he was there at every single one. But I'm going to play the 9/11 interview first so you can kind of see what he's saying. Some people haven't watched it, and maybe that might give a different opinion because he was not at ground zero or anything like that. But he was at other things that, I mean, it just blows me away. Like, he went to Kobe Bryant's court. Like, when they were showing up for court and he was being sued from a female who claimed allegations against him, Zinn was sitting in that court gallery. Not to mention that there was a political party, and it's definitely a player in the Utah community when it comes to politics. He had started his own podcast, and since Zinn was arrested, he had disabled the podcast of him interviewing Zinn. Very interesting, right? You could still see it on his site, but he had disabled it. I had reached out to him hoping that either there'd be another location to view it and listen, or maybe he would write back and just explain why he removed it. Just anything. He read my message, and 10 minutes later, every site that it was disabled on, but you could still view it, he permanently deleted it and never responded. We are going to be breaking that all down in part 2.
It was an interesting time when I went to, I was at Denver just on September 10th, 2001, and I'm a huge Broncos fan, so it was the opening night of Denver Broncos Stadium. I went down there, and we were playing the Giants that night. And so it was a huge event for us. I remembered everything that happened. We opened the stadium on September 10th, 2001. And so, I was, we won the Giants, which was good. I remember that was when Ed McCaffrey actually got hurt that night on a season-ending injury. And so I'm ready to leave the hotel on September 11th, early that morning, and go back to Salt Lake City. And they said, come down, look in the lobby. Something's happening here. They said there's a plane that's headed towards one of the towers in New York City. And we're just glued. Everybody in the lobby is just going, wow, this is piloted error. What's going on here? It was very confusing. And we see that plane go in, and we just think, wow, and then I think it was, a 912 or something like that, that second plane hit that tower. immediately chaos in that hotel lobby. There was everybody was on cell phones. People had friends, family, everybody they knew in New York, and we just said, "Oh, that's got to be something. That's terrorist attack or something like that." We weren't quite sure. We thought that because there'd been attack like several years earlier in the basement of that tower. We thought that this was the same guy that had come in and just kind of finished the job, and so Denver immediately turned. Now Denver does have a World Trade Center, but it's really not on the same level as the one in New York City. I mean, it's just an operating facility. It's just a business facility. So I don't think it had any kind of particular attraction towards what was happening at the time. But I go down in Denver, downtown, to see what's going on, and it really hadn't hit people. I mean, it was kind of business as usual for a while. And then that night, they had frozen all the airplanes and all the flights out. I couldn't get home. So I was stuck a little bit longer, I think at least 2 or 3 days longer in Denver, and was just glued to my TV, just wondering what was always happening, because we just didn't know exactly that that it was exactly a terrorist attack. We did have some idea, there was something going on, because we dealt with Bin Laden before in separate instances, so we did suspect that it was Al Qaeda involved in that. I've since been to Ground Zero at least twice. The first time they were just barely cleaning up. I think I was there two years later up in New York City. I went up there for we actually had the National Republican Convention up in New York, and I went up for the National Convention and got to see a little bit of Ground Zero. In fact, our headquarters was right across the street at the Marriott Hotel, and we could oversee what was going on there. We could see some of the workers and the things that were going on. Just very sad. Couldn't be very, very close to it, because they were still cleaning the place up, and it was still a recovery effort. And so what I did, and I left a little note on. I drew an American flag. They had a wall around there where people could leave different messages or whatever they wanted, about loved ones. And I drew an American flag and gave them, said whatever, and God bless America. And then I went back, I think a few years later, and I noticed they had blackened over the entire memorial wall with paint. And I felt very sad that they had taken everybody's sentiments and just basically just... But there was no way they could keep it anyway, because it was just a temporary wall, and they wanted to put that memorial up there. So, basically that's my experience with what I went through with 9/11. I really didn't have anybody I knew that was up there. But the feeling of, it changed America forever. I just, it's just unbelievable with the amount of patriotism we saw. Flags in every window. And, married for that short period of time. I just wish that it could just stay that way. Somebody said that they haven't seen that kind of unity in the country since Pearl Harbor in 1941. When we were brought together and that kind of thing. And anyway, God bless America. It was a great. I can't say it's a great experience. It was an experience I'll always remember. And that's kind of my story as far as where I was.